Welcome to the Deep Dive into Success podcast. Jason and Rebecca are ready to fuel your next move. Every insight here is a spark. Ignite change. Seize the moment. Take action today and shape your tomorrow. Check us out by listening. And if you like what you hear, don't forget to subscribe to receive notifications when new content is available.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're digging into this really strange tension in modern life. You know, we spend so much time preparing, optimizing, building routines, and it works, right? But the sources we looked at suggest there's a tipping point when that drive for preparation becomes this overwhelming need for control. That's when things seem to go sideways. We actually get less effective, more anxious.
That's exactly it. It's a paradox, isn't it? And look, this deep dive isn't about throwing preparation out the window. Not at all. It's about finding where healthy discipline ends and, well, that desperate need to manage the unmanageable begins. So the mission today is finding that balance, that harmony, learning to let go effectively.
Okay, so where do we start? I think the core issue is what some sources call the illusion of control. We put in the work, so we think we should be able to dictate the outcome, like effort automatically equals result. But then life happens, right? The weather changes, the market shifts, someone else makes a choice we didn't expect, and suddenly it feels like a personal failure. Why does it hit so hard?
Well, I think it feels personal because we've made ourselves vulnerable by believing in that control.
Yeah.
If you think you could have controlled it, then yeah, any deviation feels like your fault.
Yeah.
It stops being about unpredictability and starts being about, your inadequacy. We saw this with Sarah, the event planner example. She planned everything. Yeah. Vendors, setup. She was even trying to game out the weather, which is just classic uncontrollable chaos.
Right. And then the storm hit anyway.
Exactly. A freak thunderstorm. And her first reaction, total failure. She felt like she'd blown it.
Ouch. Yeah, that feeling is rough. We've all been there trying to wrestle something impossible. So what changed for her?
Acceptance, really, and shifting focus. Her real success wasn't in stopping the rain, obviously. It was in having a solid backup plan.
Yeah.
And trusting her team to execute it. She had to consciously switch from agonizing over the uncontrollable weather to focusing on the controllable actions right in front of her. That pivot, that mindset shift, that was everything.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense for a specific event. But what about the bigger stuff? Like, if I'm constantly worried about things like, I don't know, global inflation or political instability, huge things I can't touch. How do I stop my brain just spinning out on that?
That's where we need a kind of mental map. And Stephen Covey's Circles of Influence and Concern is really useful here. The circle of concern, that's everything that worries you, but you have basically zero direct control over. Think global events, maybe past mistakes you can't undo, what random strangers might think of you.
Got it. So just a pit of worry.
Pretty much. And then there's the circle of influence.
And that's where the action is.
That's where your energy should go.
Yeah.
It's the stuff you can directly manage. Your attitude, right? Your work ethic, how you communicate, the personal boundaries you set. The key insight is realizing that pouring energy into that outer circle of concern, it just drains you. No results.
Okay, I see that. And the source about David, the business owner, that really highlights this, doesn't it? He was apparently obsessed with global trade news. Total concern territory. And it was freezing him up. So he made a change. He actually cut his news intake way down and put that time and energy into his influence circle, training his staff, improving his product.
And the results were tangible. A 15% jump in customer satisfaction.
Yeah.
Why? Because he focused his control where it actually mattered, where he could make a difference.
So it's about strategic focus.
Exactly. And connecting this to the bigger picture, sometimes we need to embrace uncertainty itself. Change often feels like a loss of control, and yet it can be painful. But often it's actually a redirection, sometimes a powerful one. Yeah. Think about Mark in the source material laid off from a job he thought was stable.
Devastating, right?
Yeah, terrifying. But instead of just fighting it or despairing, he sort of surrendered to the uncertainty, pivoted, and ended up in app development work he found way more fulfilling. The loss of control forced a better path.
That requires staying grounded, though, especially when things feel chaotic. You mentioned mindfulness. How does that tie in? Because control seems rooted in past regrets or future worries.
Precisely. Control is rarely about the present moment. It's, I should have done X, or what if Y happens? Mindfulness pulls you back. And there's a really practical tool for this, the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one.
Super simple, super effective. You just, wherever you are, name 5 things you can see, then 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. It short circuits the worry loop, drags your brain right back to the here and now, instantly.
Okay, simple, powerful. I like it.
And it's interesting how often this need for control pops up as perfectionism.
Ah, right. Explain that connection.
Well, perfectionism is often just fear wearing a fancy coat, isn't it? Fear of judgment, fear of failure. So you try to control every tiny variable, polish every detail indefinitely. Look at Maria, the artist and the source. So talented, but totally paralyzed. 2 years tweaking her website.
2 years. Wow.
Meanwhile, her colleague, Ben, he adopted that mantra, done is better than perfect. Launched his site quickly, started getting clients. Perfectionism is often just avoidance. It feels productive, but it stops you from actually doing the thing.
Okay, so pulling this all together, what's the big takeaway for someone listening? Letting go isn't weakness.
Not at all. It's actually profound strength. It's about commitment. Committing fully to the process, the work, the preparation, the effort. But releasing your emotional attachment to a specific outcome, like the marathon runner example. They trust the months of training, right? They focus on running their race, not agonizing over whether they'll hit an exact time down to the second. The control is in the preparation and execution, not the final number.
Trust the process.
Trust the process. And, crucially, practice self-compassion. This isn't easy. Letting go of outcomes takes real mental discipline. So when things don't go according to plan, and they often won't, you absolutely have to replace that harsh inner critic with a more patient inner coach. Remind yourself, facing setbacks, making mistakes, that's just part of being human. It's not a unique personal failing.
Right. Be kind to yourself through the unpredictability. Okay, final thought then. Something for you, our listener, to chew on. If harmony, that sense of balance, isn't some destination you can control your way to, but something found more in the present moment. What's just one thing you're trying really hard to manage or control right now that maybe, just maybe, you could consciously choose to let go of, just for today?
Thanks for diving deep with us on this episode of the Deep Dive into Thriving Successfully. We hope you found a quick hack to take action on today. If this episode moved the needle for you, please take 1 second to hit that follow or subscribe button on your favorite podcast platform. It helps us reach more people who want to start thriving. Our content is 100% based on listener requests. We want to cover the topics you struggle with. Drop your episode suggestions in the comments or send us an email directly at deepdive@lfeg.info. And the best way you can help us is to share this episode with a friend or colleague you care about. Let's build a thriving community together. Until the next dive, keep crushing your goals.